The last several months at least, maybe years, I've thought about how difficult my dad has made my life. And I've sort of divided this difficulty into three different stages. The first is when I was a kid. My dad fussed at me a lot. To be fair, I gave him a lot to fuss about, but he took full advantage of all of those occasions. I couldn't do a lot of the things that my friends could do. I couldn't go a lot of the places my friends went, and I couldn't have a lot of the things that my friends had. This is ridiculous. I was forced to do my homework before I could go outside to play. I was forced to do manual labor around the house on the weekends. And worst of all, most offensive to my little kid plans, was that I was forced to go to Mass and catechism every single week. The second phase of my life, when my dad has made it so difficult. He makes my life difficult now. And he makes my life difficult now because he's taught me a lot of good things. And while I'm not perfect, far from it, I think he did a pretty good job of raising me. And this makes it difficult and at times frustrating when dealing with other people who were not raised the same way. You married people or anyone who has ever lived with anyone else have no idea what I'm talking about. How frustrating it is when someone is different than you and do things differently than you, or don't do things differently than you. And so sometimes I get very angry at myself whenever I find myself getting frustrated about the same things that my dad used to get frustrated about, because I am turning into that man that has made my life so difficult. Several months ago, I called him, and I started out with saying, "Dad, I just want to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all of the times that I used something and I didn't put it back where it goes." Yes, laugh it up. I apologize because I was here at this wonderful institution looking for a tool in our little tool closet, which has this very, very, very handy feature to it. Someone before me had the bright idea of outlining on the board the different tools and where they go. And so I walked into this tool shed and saw a lonely outline with no tool. And it made me a little bit angry. So I called to apologize to my dad. The third way that my dad makes my life difficult, while the first two are kind of fun and playful, the third way is the most challenging. Third way that my dad makes my life difficult is that it will be very difficult when he is gone. I will miss him a lot. When I can no longer call him to apologize for not putting tools back where they go, when I can no longer go on a quick hunting trip with him, when I can no longer call him for advice on any number of things that I have no idea how to do. And so knowing that that day will be incredibly difficult, I'm trying as best I can to take advantage of those things now, to make extra time to spend with him, to go when I don't feel like I have time to go, to take advantage of the time that I do have with him. I think that the readings this weekend touch on each one of these three different phases of difficulty. The second reading from the letter to the Hebrews speaks of that first phase of my life, my difficulty with my dad. "Do not disdain the discipline of the Lord, for whom the Lord loves, he disciplines." My eyes were open to this a while back. I went and celebrated Mass at the Carmelite Monastery, and I was speaking with Mother afterwards, and she brought up John of the Cross. And I kind of cringed, and I said, "Oh, sister or mother, he scares me." And she looked at me and she goes, "Oh, well, you don't know him, because he's a lover." Someone who loves disciplines. My dad was not trying to make my life difficult, although he did, but he was trying to discipline me and teach me well. The teachings, the laws of God, the teachings of the church, for us who are spiritually young, seem hard and arbitrary and at times downright mean. But a parent yelling at their child probably also seems mean at the time, until you realize that the parent is yelling at the child that is running towards something that is going to hurt them. And so they do what they need to do to get the point across that that is not good for them. And this is what the church does in her teachings. One of the things I am most grateful for, maybe the thing I am most grateful for, is the fact that my parents punished me the summer after my freshman year of high school. I got in a lot of trouble, and so my parents decided that it would be fun for me to do nothing that summer. And so I stayed at home. Every kid's dream. When I would get phone calls, we didn't have these cell phones, so like you had the phone on the wall. And when I would get one of those phone calls, I had 5 seconds to tell my friends that I couldn't talk on the phone. And if it took longer than 5 seconds, my dad would take the phone and he would tell them why I couldn't talk on the phone. I try to do as best I can to help out around here in a lot of different ways. I try to save money as best I can. I cut the grass at the house, one, because I like it, but two, because it saves money. I won't say never. It will be a very, very rough day if I ever paint over here. Because I had to paint our house inside and out that summer. It was awful. But I am grateful for that summer. I'm grateful that my parents did that because they disciplined me so that I wouldn't do things that were bad for me. And this is what God does for us through His church. He disciplines those He loves so that we can be guided on the right path. The second stage of that life that my parents, or my dad especially, makes my life difficult now, that second way needs a little bit of a perspective change for me, maybe for you. And the same is true of the Israelites. The Israelites are the chosen people. They were the ones chosen by God to be given this special favor, to be close to Him, the way no people had ever been close to God before. And it wasn't so that they could get annoyed and frustrated and yell at everyone else around them who didn't have that relationship. It was so that God could begin to be in relationship with everyone through them. That because of that special relationship that they had, they were called to bring others into that relationship. The same is true in terms of my relationship, or what my dad taught me, right? I shouldn't get angry at people because they didn't learn. I should be grateful because I did learn, and then I should hand on that knowledge to others. The same way, hopefully, others would do for me in ways that I fall short. That we who are baptized have been chosen, we have been conformed to Christ. And that imposes on us a responsibility to live differently and to draw others into the life that we enjoy with God. If I were looking at the readings for this week and not next week, I would tell you that the responsorial psalm points this out, and I will do that shortly. The responsorial psalm tells us this. It says, "Go out to all the world and tell the good news." That is the responsibility that is given to us who have been raised by a loving Father. That we are to go out to the world to tell them the good news and to draw them into this relationship with the Father. The third phase, that I will miss my dad when he's gone, I'm very, very grateful that I'm realizing this now and not after he's gone. And because I'm realizing it now, I am trying to do things differently, to take advantage of the time I have with him. And the gospel speaks of this in relation to God. When he's asked if many people will enter the kingdom, Jesus reminds us to strive to enter through the narrow gate. And he gives us this description of what it would be like if we don't. That we find ourselves standing, knocking at a door that has been locked, that we cannot enter. And that is supposed to shake us the same way thinking about my dad not being here one day shakes me. To do what is necessary now to grow in that relationship, to spend time with God, striving to enter through the narrow gate. The readings the past couple of weeks have all sort of pointed us in this direction, that we need to take our faith life seriously because it matters. It matters in this life, and it matters in the life to come. And we will be judged on how well we respond to the call that God has given us. And so we should take this opportunity to take advantage of that relationship we have been called into with the Father. And so during this Mass today, we ask God for the grace to accept his discipline in order to be well formed. We thank God for his discipline, and we are grateful for the life that we've been called to in him. And we ask for the grace to be able to draw others into that life. We thank God and we ask him for the grace to always strive to enter into the narrow gate, so that we won't find ourselves locked out of the banquet, but that we will be welcomed warmly into the kingdom.